Hello, my name is Taylor Vassar. It is April 30th, 2025. And so this will be presenting the, the pancreas and liver and regulating digestion. So this will be my week 11 digestive system portfolio presentation. So why the liver and the pancreas matter? So, the pancreas and the liver, they are, even though they are accessory organs, they are essential organs. And so they both work together to neutralize acidic chyme, digest macronutrients. So this could be things like fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and then also regulate bile and enzyme secretion. And so communication happens via the hormones and neutral input. So, focusing on the pancreas and specifically the exocrine function. Exocrine pancreas is secretes the digestive enzymes. So basically, the digestive enzymes that we know would be lipase, amylase, and protease. So lipase breaks down fat into fatty acids and glycerol. Amylase breaks down carbohydrates like starch into simple sugars. And then protease or proteases, excuse me, are enzymes that break down proteins into smaller peptides and also amino acids. And so, bicarbonate to neutralize the stomach acid, that is its function, that is also secreted by the pancreas endocrine. So, bicarbonate is triggered by cholestyokinin. Forgive me if I don't say that correctly. I will be using CCK for short. And so that stimulates the enzyme release. And then also secretin, which stimulates the bicarbonate release. So CCK stimulates the release of the digestive enzymes, in this case, lipase, amylase, and proteases. And then secretin would again be that stimulation for the bicarbonate release. CCK and secretin are both released by the duodenum in response to chyme. For the liver, the function that we'll be focusing on is the bile secretion, production and secretion, excuse me. So the liver produces bile that is stored in the gallbladder. So bile contains bile salts, and these are crucial for emulsifying the fats in our gut. So bile secretion is usually stimulated by, again, that's CCK. And then so this contracts the gallbladder and relaxes the sphincter of the Oddi. Vagal stimulation, which is during the cephalic and gastric phases of digestion, as well, is also what bile secretion is stimulated by. So, just an important note, bile is reabsorbed in the ileum and then recycled. For a hormonal and neural coordination. So this is how basically they coordinate with each other. So CCK released in response to is released in response to fats and proteins, and then it signals the enzymes in the pancreas and the gallbladder for the release of the bile. For secretin, that is released in response to acidic chyme again. And so this stimulates the pancreas to release bicarbonate, as mentioned before. And then we have the vagus nerve. And so this coordinates the early digestion phases. Again, that would be the cephalic and the gastric phases, and also stimulates some bile and pancreas secretions. And then just to give a clinical connection, so these are some things that are caused if secretions are not proper, basically. So, pancreatic insufficiency, so the pancreas doesn't make enough digestive enzymes. So, this could lead to fat malabsorption, steatorrhea or greasy stool, and also weight loss. Liver dysfunction is another one that could come up if these processes aren't acting right, basically. So liver dysfunction that impairs bile production and also metabolism. So you have things like hepatitis and cirrhosis, and they lead to poor fat digestion. And then lastly, gallstones. So they block bile flow. So they prevent proper lipid emulsification in the intestine. And so this leads to poor digestion and bloating. So you can see how the coordination between the pancreas and the liver, they are very important. If they don't do the things that they are supposed to do as far as secretions and production, we get these states where we are pretty much deemed unhealthy. We will have these problems that we will have to figure out how we could resolve. That is where treatment comes in. And so, just to recap some important takeaways, and then just to introduce my study aid. So, the important takeaways would be that the pancreas and the liver, they play key roles in digestion by releasing enzymes, bicarbonate, and also bile. These organs do respond to hormones like CCK and secretin as well. And so they are released by the duodenum or secretin. And then this communication ensures that we get the fats, proteins, carbohydrates broken down properly and absorbed properly in our intestines. And so, just to introduce my student study aid, I chose to go ahead and do a case study as help with a study aid. So, Madison is a 46-year-old woman. She visits her physician and complains of persistent bloating and having greasy stools or steatorrhea and unintended weight loss over the past 2 months. She mentions that the symptoms worsen after eating meals that she knows and are high in fat. A review of her medical history reveals that there are no food allergies, excuse me. But an abdominal ultrasound shows gallstones and thickening of the gallbladder wall. Blood tests show slightly elevated liver enzymes, and also a fecal fat test confirms fat malabsorption. And so for this aid, I went ahead and composed a few questions to put together with the answers as well that will also be included in this portfolio, just giving the answers to the questions like what could be wrong with this patient in this case study. So thank you, and this has been my presentation on the pancreas and the liver and why they matter so much, and also how they are coordinated.